The major challenge that international collaborations with larger teams they face, which I think they should work to address, will be data storage. Yeah. Even though our project is not international collaboration, but we are facing data storage as a challenge because earlier on we wanted to use Mac Drive or Mac OneDrive as our repository for our data, but not all the team members are employees of McMaster University. So it means that if we do that, they will not have access to that. Yeah. So international collaborations in a big research project, the team must work to have a common and a more accessible storage system that all collaborators will be able to access without going through some kind of payment and clearance issues.
So I think it goes also back to having time in those team meetings to talk about what we need, what naming conventions make sense, what is intuitive for everybody, and then making that magic happen here at McMaster, and then always making sure that it's still working for people. Is this what we're happy with? But those little pieces, I think my recommendation is to have them happen at McMaster, wherever the main system is being used. So for here, we're using McMaster, we're using Mac Drive not so much anymore, like the OneDrive, the teams here at McMaster. So I see it should happen here. If it's happening at TMU, then I think that that work should be at TMU. If it's happening at the University of Melbourne, it should happen at the University of Melbourne. Yeah, and absolutely, if it's happening through the Lutheran University in San Salvador, and then we're working with their ethics, then they can take the lead on the Google Drive. Absolutely.
I think the challenges around international collaborations in some instances are similar to the challenges of collaborating with people at different institutions, in the sense that different institutions offer different data backup options, different tools, different software that's available for managing your research. And so that's going to be a barrier or a challenge for any time that you're collaborating with someone at another institution, whether it's domestic or international.
For international collaborations, I think they also like the different approaches to research, the different approaches to data, right, exists. Because I was speaking to a colleague from Denmark. They were like, the way Canadians talk about data management, they don't get it. And the way we talk about ethics, right? Because apparently, like, some of them can go do their work with communities and don't necessarily have to apply the same ethics principles. There is assumed that you will do the right thing instead of, actually having a document, right? And I mean, I have an issue with the document that people have to sign and all of that, because in some communities it doesn't go down well. People like, once you bring something up for them to sign, then it's like, oh, are you a lawyer? Are you working for the company? Are you a police person? So it's like, that is also a problem. But I think it's just the variation in practices and policies across different countries can really make things challenging when you want to bring everyone on the same page that this is what we should do and this is what applies to this project, right? So I think about that and discuss those variations in advance. It definitely helps to save time in a big project that involves international collaboration.
You would like it to be really easy to be able to share with your collaborators, and you want to get your research going fast. But if you're not putting in a great deal of time making these decisions and then researching what are the viable options, hopefully working with someone who has been working with a lot of teams on research data management and already has sort of worked with people who've experienced the pitfalls of different systems, so that you are setting up something from the start where you don't end up in a catastrophe later on as an international team.
I would say that if you're managing such a big team, first of all, give yourself a lot of time and lead time, right? right, in everything you want to do, because you might think that, oh, everyone is on the same page, but people are in different time zones, people are doing their own thing, people have other projects, right? So don't think about this as the only project that they're doing, and they should just, once you send an email, they should all just circle around it and respond right away. So, and I can here's an example where we're thinking of ethics and we sent a document out to the collaborators and they have to respond in a few weeks, but it's been 2 months and it's like we haven't received a response that we thought we could have had in 2 weeks. Just an example of people being busy.
I do think that there are also additional concerns if you're studying something sensitive or you're working with collaborators in a country where the government is unstable or there could be anti-democratic forces at work. So when I collaborated recently on a project based in Myanmar before the most recent coup there, we were very intentional about making sure that all of the data that we collected from the survey that we did and the focus groups that were done was only backed up in Canada, and that local researchers did not have copies of the data on local machines, such that if they were stopped by authorities while collecting survey data or while doing field work, their devices did not put the entire project or them at risk.
There are all kinds of things that can go wrong on international projects in terms of data. And I have known researchers that have lost major data on international projects. And so everything that needs to happen always for good data management is all the more pressured and all the more critical when you're working with international collaborations.
This series is brought to you by SPARC, a Center for Social Research Innovation.